Welcome back. Today we have a special guest. I don't know, I bought myself flowers and I love them. So it's actually something that I try to do at least once a week, once every 2 weeks, just because it's so funny because we think that when we're into like a romantic relationship, this person's going to give us something that, we can't give to ourselves. So many people come to me like, I'm single and I don't hate men. Like, what do I do? And it's like, girl, I don't hate them either. Despite what you may think, the things that I talk about on my channel, I just am not willing to settle. I was somebody who settled for a really long time, honestly, for the majority of my life and all of my 20s, and I'm not into it anymore. So it's not that I hate men. It's not that I think that men fulfill us. I don't think that we can live without both sexes. Obviously, I use donor sperm, which comes from males only, unfortunately. But yeah, I just think that it's really important to get into a habit of pouring into your own cup, no matter your circumstances. And then that means if you are with somebody and if you are not, you need to be the one filling your cup. Because if you are always looking to other people, whether it be romantic partnerships, friendships, work, your kids, whatever it is, if you're always looking for something outside of you to fulfill you, you're never going to be happy. So it is important to get into a habit of taking care of yourself and loving on yourself. And something that I love is having fresh flowers in my house. And it's something that would happen, when I was in long-term relationships, engaged to be married, I'd get fresh flowers usually when he did something crappy and he'd come in with flowers to try to put a band-aid on it. So I'm actually trying to repair some wounds in myself and deal and try to associate beautiful fresh flowers with good things and happy things. So that's why I do that, and that's why they're here, okay? There's kind of a weird placement, but we're just gonna deal. But yeah, today is not really about that. However, I thought it was important to talk about it. But in other news, your girl has chosen her donor. Okay, you already know I'm trying for baby number 3 as a single mom by choice, and with that comes choosing a donor for, just a second. Yes, okay, choosing a donor. Sorry, kids came in. So I've chosen my donor. Now, it is not the same one that I used for Leo, and I have some feelings about that because, of course, in an ideal world, I'd be using the same donor. However, unfortunately, that donor no longer has any vials available. I've been on a wait list, waiting for some because Fairfax Cryobank, what they do is they have like a buyback program. So when you are choosing to use a donor to conceive, you can buy a bunch of vials. And they actually recommend doing that. I should have listened. Because if you, and you can keep them in storage like indefinitely, and if you decide not to use them, you can sell them back to the bank. Not all of them do that, so always do your research, but Fairfax does do that, which is amazing. So I didn't do that, which was silly, and I'm like kicking myself that I didn't. I literally bought one and kind of just went with it, and I bought a vial every time I did an IUI. As you know, I did 3 before conceiving Leo on Christmas Day of 2020, which is really cool. But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't buy more, and there's no more available from that specific donor. So how do I feel about that? I know there's gonna be a lot of questions about that. What's the word? I had Riley with my ex, and then I had Leo using a donor. So obviously they don't have the same biological father, but they have the same mama, okay? And with that, they're just as much siblings to me as any other, you know what I mean? Like, they're siblings. They're brother and sister. They're close. They're growing up together. And there's so many things that people will say, like, yeah, but they have a huge age gap. They're not going to be close. Or, oh, but, they're not complete, 100% DNA match. So they're not, they're not going to be close. And it's ridiculous because those aren't the things that make family, in my opinion. Of course, blood relation, in my opinion, is something that I find a little bit important in my specific family, okay? However, there are people in my life who are not blood related to me whatsoever, and I hold near and dear to my heart just like I would blood relatives. So it's not that important to me, I guess, in that sense. Like, it doesn't earn you a spot in my life front and center just because we're related. Okay, so with that said, does it kind of, like, was I planning and hoping that I would be using the same donor? Yes. Just because when my kids get older, Leo and the next child, if they should decide to find their bio family or, you know, bio relatives or whatever, would it be cool if they were able to do that together? Yes. However, just because they're using a different donor doesn't mean that, or I'm using a different donor, I'm using a different donor. It doesn't mean that they can't go on that journey together. And just like Riley and I will have conversations, she's not donor conceived, but her dad's not in her life whatsoever. And she kind of finds it cool to have conversations about Leo and the next baby and, like, you know, what their journey might be like if they decide to kind of do some digging and some connecting on their own, right? So it doesn't mean that Riley, who's again not donor conceived, she won't be a part of it because these are her baby siblings, you know, and she loves Leo so much and she's so excited about this new potential baby. So who she already is saying is a girl. We already have a name. We already, all the things, okay? But yeah, it's an exciting time nonetheless. I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer in, like, universal support. And with that, I know that everything happens the way that it's supposed to, and I trust that. I trust that I'm on the right path. I've been given, again, whatever you believe in, you might be like, this chick is too woo-woo, she's crazy, but okay, I have gotten tons of signs, tons of confirmation, tons of, you know, like, winks from the universe or from God or however you want to say it, being like, girl, yes, this is it, you got it. There are 3 babies out there, you know, you have 3 babies. And yeah, so I'm excited, and I'm not letting the fact that it's a different donor ruin it in any way for me. You know what I mean? Either way, like when I was having Leo or choosing a donor for Leo, I wasn't thinking, oh my God, but they're not gonna have the same bio dad like that. I mean, that was a given, right? Because I wasn't with my ex anymore. There was no chance I was asking him to be a donor. We don't need to get into our story, but no thank you. So yeah, like, I'm trying to look at it that way this time too, you know? Either way, these are my babies. These are my little lovies, my little fam, and it doesn't make any of my children any less family with each other too. You know what I mean? I don't know how to, you know, I hope that makes sense, but biologically, they're all my babies. So the donor aspect isn't super duper important to me, truly. That being said, I was very careful when choosing a donor. Who is this person? I thought we had a visitor. No, we're good. Sorry. But yeah, when I was picking a donor, I was looking at health, medical things, family history, listening to their donor essays, which I think is really cool because it's almost like you get to, like, interview them, but you're not interviewing, but you get to hear an interview. You get to hear how they present themselves, the way they carry themselves in a way, and you get to hear, like, from the people that work at Fairfax when they're interviewing them and whatever, they get to get a sense of who this person is. So they get to share their opinion too, which is nice because obviously you're not meeting this person. But that kind of leads into, I mean, hold on, I should actually add, sorry, my phone's being weird. But anyways, okay. Yes, it's important to look for the health and things when you're choosing a donor because I think that that's most important. Of course, I chose a donor that has brown eyes. I chose a donor that has brown eyes and brown hair, actually, to be more specific. And that's another thing that I'll rewind because when I was choosing, when I was for Leo, trying to conceive Leo, I didn't love the idea of the donor having brown eyes, not that they're not beautiful, but just because I have green eyes and Riley has blue eyes. So I was really looking for a donor that had either blue or green eyes. And that didn't work out. I didn't love any of the donors that had blue or green eyes at that time. And I loved the donor that I chose for Leo, and he was a brunette with brown eyes, light brown eyes. But like everything matched. I love the essays. I love the medical history, the genetic testing, everything that's like really important at the end of the day. Those all checked out and just like rang well with me. Like they sat well with me. And I ended up picking him, and Leo has like these beautiful little honey eyes. And of course, I've never been like, oh, he is cute, but if only he had a green eye. If only this kid was blue-eyed, he'd be like, you know what I mean? Like it's so irrelevant when the time comes, you know what I mean? So we each have different colored eyes. And again, we are all just as related. So it's like, doesn't my kids have beautiful eyes? I'm very lucky. They're beautiful kids. But if I do say so myself. So yeah, the donor that I'm choosing for this baby also has brown eyes. So the baby will likely have brown eyes, maybe eyes that change a little bit, because both my kids' eyes kind of change a little bit with a little bit of green in them and whatever. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm not letting it put a damper. It is different than my initial plan. However, plans change, and I'm somebody who's willing to roll with the punches, willing to make the best of the situation, and I'm excited. I mean, this time I've also decided, new news, that I'm going to be doing ICI at home. So I've been doing research. This is all going to be added to Single Mom Mindset too, because I know a lot of people like to do this, or at least try to. I did IUI at the clinic, my fertility clinic, to conceive Leo 3 times. So they did like the vial they inserted into my uterus. It's almost kind of like comparable to like a pap test, like your routine pap. Like it doesn't feel any different than that, honestly. It doesn't feel intrusive. It doesn't, like, again, as intrusive as a pap is. Like it's not super fun where you're like, yeah, let's go get a pap, guys. But also, you know, it's not that bad, right? And people sometimes think like, oh my God, it must be like such like a violation. Does it feel so weird? Don't you hate it? It really wasn't a big deal, truly. If you go to the gynecologist as a female, it's like been there, done that. You're good, okay? However, this time I'm thinking about, because I kind of know what to expect. I've done it before a couple times, like we know. And I kind of feel not like a pro, but like I'm seasoned. I feel like it'll be kind of fun to do an ICI at home. Again, I'm using donor sperm from Fairfax, okay? They are going to, from what I've read and understood from talking to some of the girls there, they are gonna ship it to me like on ice, okay? I'm gonna show all this. I'm gonna document all of it, okay? But yes, it's gonna arrive to my clinic, my fertility clinic that I'm associated with, I already have great history with, where I conceived Leo, and I get to go pick it up there and bring it back to my house, and I get to do the procedure in the comfort of my own home. Now, is this kind of like, what is the movie with Jen Aniston? Where she gets a sample. Anyways, and then her friend switches it, and then he realizes after that the kid is his, and whatever. Anyways, I don't have anyone here that would be able to do something like that, so I'm not worried. It's gonna be me doing the whole thing, and again, documenting it and sharing as much as I can without being like vulgar or a little too much. I'm going to share as much as I can, because again, I want to be able to know what people are doing, and it's been hard to find real life like examples of people doing this. So I'm excited. I'm hopeful. I think it's gonna be cool, again, to be able to do it in my own home. It's gonna be a little less clinical, a little less not cold, but like sterile and clinicky. So I can understand why people prefer to do it this way in some senses. But yeah, so that's gonna be interessante. We are going to see. Again, this is gonna be something I'm gonna be learning as I go, just as much as you will if you're along for the ride. If you have done this before, ICI at home, using like donor sperm from a donor bank, please comment below. I want to hear your experience. Shoot me a DM. Let's chat about it. and maybe I can help you share your story here too, whatever, okay? Like, we need to chat. But yeah, that also leads into another thing that I kind of feel responsible to talk about, and that is using a known donor. Now, that's different than an ID donor. Like when you go to like again, like a Fairfax Cryobank, they have non-ID and they have ID donors. I mean, with things like 23andMe now and all these things, I mean, either way, you can find out where you come from no matter what, if it's ID or not. It feels more comfortable to me choosing an ID donor because this person clicked that box. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're comfortable with being identified. Whereas if someone who is like a non-ID, maybe they aren't so open to that when your child is 18. So I wanted to pick someone who was open. Maybe their mind will change. You never know. You can't predict the future. But I feel better choosing ID, okay? Like open ID person. But yes, when it comes to a known donor, like let's say friend of a friend, even a friend, somebody you meet online. Yeah, I feel a responsibility to talk about that because of legalities, of safety, of, I don't know, like I feel like mama bear-ish. Like I remember the days of like chat rooms with my friends and we're talking to like strange people. Oh my God. And like, what was it? Like AOL chat rooms or whatever it was, like scary times. Okay. And now everything is just like that much more advanced. And I'm honestly not very like techie person, which you might be surprised to know. But I don't have like a great grasp of like how these like chat rooms are handled, but I can only imagine, and my brain only goes like worst case scenario. So it's like, please do yourself a favor and your child a favor for future and go the safe route. Now, if you're going to use a friend, make sure legally you are sound. Like, you go to a legitimate lawyer, you pay legitimate money to get things legally drafted. Now, with that though, many people don't realize that family court, because that's what you are going to be having an agreement in, is family court until this child is 18. Things can always change. Like, there's nothing cement. Even if it's cement, your lawyer tells you this is cement, this is permanent. No. Okay, there's no guarantees with family court. As someone who went through it, that's not to say that your friend, even friends with for 100 years, is, you know, they might truly respect this situation and truly keep themselves, you know, stepped back and respect you and your boundaries and what you guys agreed to. Sure, it's very possible. But I like to think about the what if, like tiny minuscule chance that doesn't happen. This person sees their offspring. This baby is 50% them. And they go, wait a minute, I want to be a part of their life. What does that look like to you? Maybe you're all for it. But if you're going the, you know, single mom by choice route because you want to be an independent mom with no help from bio dad at all, that's going to be something that you got to think about. Because in the family court, it'd be very easy for this person to get access and change your agreement. So be smart, be safe, and please go through a really like reputable donor bank. Okay, I have links below to people that I love and trust that, you know, they've got you, they got me. Okay, so yeah, just take care of yourself. Questions, anything, drop them below, and I will see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And yeah, have a good one. See you soon. Bye.